Those April showers, they come your way. They bring the flowers that bloom in May. Well, I wake up this morning and what do I have? A dreary, miserable, wet and windy, cold, typical northwest of Ireland April morning. And it felt wonderful. Yeah, I was enjoying the last month or so of blazing sunshine and starry skies, but this is an augury to tell me that things are going back to normal. Not their new normal, our new normal. Now, when you have a website like reason.com, which is about basically mainstream spook atheists who are just devoted to orthodoxy, have an article come out that say that Corona-19 is no more worse than any other regular flu, you know that you guys and me have won. But the biggest winner in all this is the nation of Sweden. The one nation in Europe, along with Belarus, but Sweden's a better controlled subject because it's in the heart of Western Europe and it's a modern, developed, wealthy nation. Northwestern Europe. And for all this shit it got over the years of being cooked and all this stuff and being the centre of cultural Marxism and producing the doom goblin, etc., I just changed my profile pic to a Swedish flag with a thumbs with an OK sign made by a chap called Luke. I think he's in England, and the Irish government, using the old patriotism thing as part of the stay-at-home strategy, got the meat to hang out their brightest colours, meaning fly the Irish tricolour. This comes from a quote by George Bernard Shaw of the Fabian Society when he heard that Michael Collins had been assassinated in the Civil War. Well, he wasn't assassinated, he was killed in a battle. He was killed in an ambush in the Civil War. And so they told the people to hang out their brightest colours. But the brightest colours in the world right now are blue and yellow of the Swedish flag. Because they worked. They did it. They booked the globalist trend regarding the COVID-19 hysteria and lockdown. And like the Reason.com magazine today said, it was basically just a regular flu. Herd immunity, as usual, take care of it. And yes, the old and the sick will die. But that's what happens every infection season. And they went on as normal. They still have an economy. They still have a functioning economy. They still have middle-class people who are not looking at having their homes taken away because they didn't go to work, unless they're civil servants, who are the ones in these parts of the world, in Ireland and everywhere, who had jobs for life for telling others to stay at home, because the ones who worked in the private sector, who'll probably, in many cases, Ireland is probably looking at maybe the best part of 500,000 to 750,000 now unemployed in a country of not even 6 million people. And yeah, these people will all be on from the private sector, small business people who worked in small shops or anything, builders, plumbers, carpenters, you name it. And they will never, probably if they're middle age, will never see a job ever again. And the kids won't be able to run off to Australia or Canada this time because they'll be fucked as well. And hang out your brightest colours, wave your Irish flags, celebrate your destruction by your incompetent, scared, quizzling, terrified government, who your politicians all ran in behind the World Health Organization, the lie that they spread, and as a result destroyed the economy of the West for probably the best part of 20 to 25 years, maybe even more. Maybe they might even not recover to what we had. And they played on earlier fears. Like, I totally get why people who had, elderly relatives, or me with fucking respiratory problems, and I wasn't even bothered. And people with children, yeah, you do worry. It's totally understandable that there was so much fear propaganda. It was like the climate change thing on steroids, and all the same tactics were used that they developed in that. And I totally get what those people were scared. But that frightened That scared is now going to turn to anger. Now, that's what I'm saying. The politicians right now are just working on an exit strategy to get, they keep saying things like, welcome to the new normal. Don't be falling for that, okay? The new normal is what you want, not what they're telling you is the new normal. This is self-hexing. They're getting you to self-hex yourself, just like they got you to self-hex yourself out of a job and a mortgage and a home when they got you to stay at home and save lives bullshit. When civil servants have jobs for life and pensions, where union workers who drive buses and trains have jobs for lives and pensions, where people who work for the government, from school teachers to medical staff to politicians to bureaucrats, were saying stay at home, save lives, all have jobs for life and pensions. Those of us in the private sector didn't. And we were sacrificed for them. Always remember that. The next time you're walking down the street and you see a civil servant, you remember that you're on the dole because you sacrificed your job for him or her. Remember that. Because they wanted to crash the economy, but only so much that only they didn't get done. So I'm already seeing these Irish Union websites popping up all over. Let's celebrate the heroes of COVID-19. They're not you, motherfuckers. You all have jobs for lives in the public sector. You're not the heroes. The heroes are the people who worked in small businesses, had small companies, shopkeepers, small high street shops that were barely surviving anyway, small little markets. They're the ones who are the heroes, because there'll be no parade for them now, no ticker tape parade for them. There'll be the only parade that they'll ever see will be the dole office, except in one country, Sweden. I want to see everybody on social media, on YouTube, everywhere, change your profile picture to the Swedish flag. Or the better still, that graphic you can find it by Luke with the Swedish flag with the OK symbol in front of it. You want tricks? You look. You could sit there going, Illuminati, all-seeing eye. I'm afraid to do this. I'm afraid. Or you could learn how to do the magic back at them, and changing your profile pic to a Swedish flag. Or better still, if you have real balls, putting a Swedish flag on your car or hanging outside your house. Order them online, not from Amazon, by the way. And yeah, you want tricks? You want to hex them back? Hex them back. For the Swedish flag will become to the globalists what the swastika is to to Zionists and Jews. Rub it in their faces. They will try to ban it. They will mark my words. They will try to declare the Swedish flag as a hate speech thing. That's what they will do. Use it. Rub it in their faces. Show them. The Swedish flag will be the crucifix on which the globalist incompetents were crucified. Remember that. And do it with a smile on your face and a song in your heart. And don't let them ever grind you down. Don't march in the streets banging drums. Don't get all agitated. Be as sneaky as fucker as they are. Loki, trickstercraft, chaos magic. Boom, Swedish flag, walk away. If people on your social media go, the Swedish, something like two and a half times the people died in Sweden than did in neighbouring Scandinavian countries. Put this Reason.com article underneath that. Oh, but I'm for Reason. Well, Reason.com says it's just a regular flu. And if they try to bring you into it, the internet must be true, conspiracy theorists, block them. Block them. This is the watershed. The rains of April will become the watershed from May and beyond. You don't need condescending shitbags who fly in the face of reality in order to maintain a corrupt globalist orthodoxy. Because that's all they're fucking doing. There are people right now who fell for the hype, and good luck to them, who'll come around and say, we were screwed, weren't we? Sweden did the right thing. These are your tribe. They're your people. Even if they fell to the worst of the hype, were screaming about, you'll be lying in the hospital, dying, because they were bought into the fear control. If they come around, they're on your side. They're on our side. Let this be a watershed. Let this be Let this be the rains of April to bring in the new suns of May. Let the Beltane fires immolate the dreams and desires of the globalists because they lost. They lost because of a country of 10 million people in the north of Europe. They cannot undo that. They cannot unsee that. They cannot look at the fact, even though the fact that they removed those two doctors from YouTube who used their science and their numbers to show that it wasn't a pandemic because of it violated community standards shows how frightened they are. Let's absolutely terrorize them with something as simple as the Swedish flag. The politicians in my country will quake at the sight of a Swedish flag. The politicians in your country will quake at the sight of a Swedish flag. Let it become the crucifix on which they are crucified, not to be born as redeemers, but to end up like the bandits in the cesspools that they all were, the cowards, the snakes, the sacrificers of people's, ordinary hard-working people's lives. We're not angry, we're just telling the truth. Consider this a deposition on the stand. Guilty as charged. The sentence is the nation of Sweden to be rubbed into your face for the rest of your lives because you overplayed your hand. You got cocky and you got carried away. All those thousands of TikTok and other social media videos of doctors and nurses doing highly choreographed dance movements and parodies of the movie Titanic. All that said to people was, there are no hospitals where doctors and nurses are dropping dead on the job by the dozen. There are no hospitals full of COVID patients piled up to the ceiling, dead. There are no mass graves, lime pits where thousands of bodies are being put into it. They overplayed their hand on that one. Like all the psychopaths do, they always overplay their hand. They can't stop, go away for a while, be quiet and come back. They have to keep plugging and plugging, whiffling and wobbling, waffling and wibbling until everyone figures out they're hiding something. They're the bullshitters, not the ones they're pointing the finger at. Hang out your brightest colours, blue and yellow. What began in Dealey Plaza in 1963 when JFK was assassinated by the Bush neocons, Prescott Bush, there's no doubt about that. George Bush was there that day, senior. What Eisenhower, the previous US president, had warned about, a military-industrial cabal was trying to take over the United States and the world because they saw basically a one world government was now being formed with the United States in charge, but it was a benevolent government, and they knew that the United States power was so far ahead of that of all other countries at the end of World War II that if you controlled the USA, you controlled the world. So this Irish-American guy called, womanizer, called John Fitzgerald Kennedy, and his brother basically started running the United States, healing the racial problems, stopping segregation, winning over people that didn't like him because he was a Catholic, and now we're starting to realise, oh, maybe we are onto something good here. And Prescott Bush, the spawn which ejaculated from Prescott Bush's foul member, along with the other neocons who gave us all the other shit that happened, the wars in the Middle East and everything since then, had him assassinated and blamed a patsy called Lee Harvey Oswald. And they controlled the world until now. This was to be their final ace up their sleeves. This was to be it. They were absolutely destroyed and terrified by the election of Donald Trump. They have used the media, the evil mainstream media, to attack everything he says. including lies that he's telling people to inject bleach and Lysol and Dettol into themselves. When if you watch the press conference, what you see is an interested and caring man who a president of the United States who suggests maybe people should look into alternative healthcares. Something you've wanted forever. He wasn't a neocon Clinton Obama sitting there praising pharmaceutical corporations. He spoke about things like alternative healthcare, sunshine, light, with a lot of compassion and genuine concern for the people of his country. And the foul dogs of the mainstream media, the rancid beasts, edited clips to make it sound like he told people to drink the household disinfectant. That's an indication of not how just debased they are, but how they're losing. This was their final moment. This was the ace in their sleeve. And like all psychopaths, they overplayed their hand. They didn't understand that sane people would see highly choreographed videos of doctors and nurses in so-called killing zones, COVID-19 death zones, having done dance numbers that were clearly had been rehearsed and took time because they were bored. And those of you who are saying they're crisis actors, get that shit out of your head. They're not crisis actors. They're not mocking you. They were bored hospital staff because there was no COVID-19 pandemic. Ockram's razor has never been more succinct than in that case. TikTok and Sweden saved the world. How about that for a bit of magic? How about that for chaos discordia? Not by what it wanted to project, but how we perceived it. And if this isn't a glorious lesson for you, then nothing is. Yes, we're heading towards 25 years probably of economic woe. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Build your own reality tunnel. See yourself as a seed now. You're now a seed germinating into the flower that you were meant to be. You have a clean slate now. You understand the rules of engagement and how the world works. It's really simple. You'll never ever be drawn into a flame war debate online with people who are trying to make you look like a fool or you're a nut. You've now learned the rules of chaos magic. I have taught you how to be a sorcerer. Don't spend all your time debating with people who are only trying to play you into a trap. The flag of Sweden will do more than anything that could ever be issued in the debate department of Oxford or Cambridge universities. And you walk away. You conserve your energy to do the things that you were meant to do the things that you were meant to be, to create. That's what you came for, to find a way, to be a pathfinder. The road is now clear ahead. You understand the rules of engagement. And I see so many of you joining in this. I'm so proud of so many of you. You're amazing. Especially those of you who went through the whole sort of alt media truther mill and came out the other side. Yeah, you learn from the mistake. It's all a learning experience. But look at you now. I just look down my wall and I do not see fearful doom monkeys. On social media, I see people who are mocking the globalists with Swedish flags and other graphics that really began with, ironically, with the Greta Thunberg doom goblin memes. We've come into our own. This is an age we've developed for ourselves. Everything they've thrown at us, we've thrown it back in their faces, and casually. This is why they are terrified of memes. This is why they love debate, because they can bog you down in word salad, obfuscation and platitudes. Someone died here last week. Do you want to tell them that COVID doesn't exist? Block those motherfuckers. My cousin's uncle's neighbour. You're on a respirator. You're saying COVID doesn't exist? Block those motherfuckers. Stay at home, save lives. You're killing people. Block those motherfuckers. Clear the path ahead. Let the light of a new day come in. And know that you have the tools now to go forward and be the person you want to be. Feck 'em if they can't take a joke. Ave Lucifer, long live the horn gods, and hang out your brightest colours, yellow and blue.